Welcome everybody to another edition of Atlanta Unplugged, and I'm your host for today, Steve Paul, and I have a very special guest with us, and we about to dig deep. He goes by the name of Poetix. What's up, my good brother?
What's going on? What's going on, family? How you doing, man? I appreciate you having me out here, man. You know, we've been trying to link for a little bit.
Blessed, man. You know, yeah, we've been trying to link, but we've been linking, you know what I'm saying?
We putting in some work in this community.
Yeah, for real, you know what I mean? No doubt, because, you know, creative minds, you know, recognize other creative minds, recognize real, you know what I'm saying? So, man, so introduce yourself, tell the people, you know, what you're about, what you got going on, and what you're bringing to the table.
No doubt. Well, I am Poetix. I am not an entertainer. I am a poet. I'm a spoken word artist, originally from New York. I moved to Pennsylvania, and then I moved to Atlanta about 2 years ago. So I came down here specifically for us, for our people. You know, I knew there was a spoken word community. I knew there was a conscious community down here. So when I moved down here, that's exactly what I wanted to surround myself with. And I was introduced to great people like yourself. We worked on a couple different projects, even starting back to, it was at Mama's house we did it a couple years ago.
Right.
And, you know, we got a good ability to work on some other productions. But I'm down here for the art, for the creative. I am a pro-black, anti-establishment, conscious, spiritual, enlightened, however you want to phrase it. But I just say I'm a child of the Most High, first and foremost. So we come down here and we just do work in communities. You know what I mean? Whether we doing something in terms of activism, whether we doing something in the creative space, or whether we just out here, man, just being a light for other people. And you know, that has really been able to connect me with people, connect me with like-minded individuals. And I've been having a ball since I've been down here. I mean, it's just amazing the love you get in Atlanta, for sure.
Yes, indeed, man. You just put it all.
I mean, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm a spoken word artist, so I know how to speak. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta tone it down sometimes. I can use my words, so you know, we just gonna have to, you know, vibe for a little bit.
Right, man. Man, you yes, indeed, you got a lot of things going on, a lot of positive, powerful things going on. And you know what I mean, not only through the vocals and everything like that, but also the visuals, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're bringing, you know, a positive energy, but it's not corny. That's what I like, you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
You're making it solid, you know what I mean? That everybody could, you know, dig and really vibe to. Now, what is it that... what is it about Atlanta, though, like that drove you to Atlanta? Why Atlanta?
So this is a hotbed. This is like the hub for us, for our people, for black people, for conscious people. Even some, you know, some communities aren't as conscious as others and vice versa, but that we're here. We're here. We support each other. The community that I've been, the people that I've been around, they support each other. But specifically Atlanta, because there's so much potential what we can do. We have so many black people. We have so many, I would say indigenous people, if you understand where I'm going with that. Black and indigenous people down here that not only have resources, but they're creative. They're creative and they support each other. So there's so much potential for a potential movement, especially with the climate of today. There's so much potential for a movement for us, by us. And I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to surround myself with people that, you know, represented our culture, represented art, you know, and we're grounded. So, and I found that down here. So I'm definitely excited about that. Okay, so
were you not receiving that in back east in New York and Pennsylvania?
Right. No, that's a great question. Because I also often tell people that Pennsylvania is a place where dreams go to die.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So I was living in New York. Now, don't get me wrong. New York is fast-paced. It's a city that never sleeps. But there's a lot of people doing a lot of different things, and it's hard for anything to excel because it's oversaturated. At least in my opinion, there's a lot of art going on, but it's saturated, and everyone got something going on. It's hard to really have a community and a movement based around one thing, because it's really it is the epitome of a melting pot. You know what I mean? There's so many different communities blending in and everything like that. So Pennsylvania is exact opposite. Unless you're going to major areas like Philly or anything like that, there's not a lot of art. There's not a lot of expression. in Pennsylvania. So I knew I had to leave Pennsylvania. And, you know, moving from there to here, the biggest things, like I said earlier, is the support you get. The support you get, and there are communities surrounding you. You know what I mean? As opposed to New York, where you have this little umbrella here, this little umbrella here, this little umbrella here. When you come down to Atlanta, you got people that surrounding your bubble. You know what I'm saying? You got your core bubble, then you got the bubbles next to the bubble supporting you, and then you have the greater community that's, you know, wraps around that bubble. So, you know, just seeing that, it kind of makes the difference.
Or you just got the talent to just attract those bubbles, because I'm still trying to get those bubbles like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, listen, I can only speak from my experience. But you know what? I'm around a lot of talented people, you included, especially when you come into a spoken word scene. They elevate your game. So I know we'll kind of get into this a little bit more, but you know, we have this short film coming out, and me being around other spoken word artists, it made me challenge my own creativity. You know what I mean? And I think that mutual respect, that real recognize real type of mentality you've seen before, is the reason why I was able to be surrounded by such solid people. It's because they know I'm coming into my spoken word, everything I do is genuine. You know what I mean? Everything that I say, I feel and I mean. So when they see that and they see how that energy go, yeah, I mean, you know, you want to be around that. And likewise for me, when I see people doing real things, and you could tell when somebody doing it for the presentation or anything like that, or when somebody really genuinely got a project and they love it. You can see the passion coming out their eyes.
Right.
So that is what attracts me. You know what I mean? That's what attracted me in Atlanta.
So what is your roots? Because there's not too many people that go the route of wanting to express the positive or the more conscious side of things and all that. What is your roots? What drove you to want to take that path instead of taking the path that everybody else, well, like the majority of people is taking, just, you know, to get the bag and everything like that? So,
I get you.
Yeah.
So I say first and foremost, I'm on a mission. You know what I mean? This isn't for publicity. This ain't for popularity, and the damn sure ain't for money. Because if anybody really follow it, the conscious route, if you going for the bag, the conscious route ain't really the route to take.
You feel me?
I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but that's not the route you want to take if you looking for a bag.
Right.
But I will say this: I grew up in a very tight knit community. I grew up in a very Afrocentric, tight knit community, and my family was devout Hebrew Israelites. So my father was a minister. I'm third generation preacher kid. You know what I'm saying? So my father was a minister in the Hebrew Israelite Ministries, Candlelight Ministries, and my grandfather was a Baptist preacher. And, you know, my aunts are all bishops. My uncle passed away not too long ago, a couple months ago. He was a pastor. He had his own church. Then on my mother's side, we have, on my father's side, my aunts are devout churchgoers, you know what I mean? So the spirit, even the religion, it comes down the line. And so me growing up in a Hebrew Israelite household, we had a little bit different take on religion and spirituality. My mother and my father are very spiritual individuals. You know, Hodam Yab and Melchizedek and my father, Hawan Ophir is my mother. So I grew up with that ingrained in me. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, not for nothing, one time I was coming upstairs. This is after I came home from school one day. And my mother and my older sister was going back and forth. And you heard them and you thought it would be like an argument. So I'm walking up the stairs and I hear them going back and forth, passionately speaking about the role of spirit in your life. How do you accentuate that? How do you reach your full potential? And those are the arguments that I would walk into. It's not about this, that, and the third, Nah, I would walk into arguments like that, and it wasn't really be arguments, be spirited debates, but it kind of enlightened you. It made you lift your consciousness just hearing people speak like that.
Right.
So I grew up with that. You know what I mean? And I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful for it. I feel like I'm blessed to have the family I have and the family structure that I have. I had my mother and my father growing up, so I feel very fortunate and blessed with that. But that's the community, that's the environment I grew up in. So no, as I grew up, my father being a teacher, a pastor, a minister, an author, he was 22 years. He did 22 years teaching in the New York City Board of Education. So I came up with this understanding and worldview, and my family gave me the freedom to express myself. There was 6 of us, so I'm one of 6. They gave me I'm the middle child, so I had freedom to do. People ain't really looking at it and checking for the middle child when he do things. There's so many people running around.
Right.
So I just had this freedom, you know what I'm saying? And so with that freedom, I would see people who do things, you know what I'm saying? Like they wanted to be rappers and stuff like that. I wanted to be a football player when I grew up. once that dream was over, I had to find my own dream. I had to walk into my purpose. I had to walk into my light. And I've been surrounded this my whole life. So it only feels natural for me to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then as you grow up and you see other people not doing it, so many people shy away from consciousness. So many people shy away from knowledge and wisdom and understanding. And it's like, nah, that's what I'm gonna stand for. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I don't really need to fit in. I'm great standing by my own. So, you know, any type of, you know, you being shunned or people, you know, because following this conscious route, let me tell you, when you start trying to put people on into enlightenment, start talking a certain type of way and start feeling some type of way, you're gonna lose friends. You're gonna lose a certain amount of your social life. But you gotta be able, you gotta be strong enough to stand in that. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to understand that what is for you will always be for you. And the people that the Most High moves out of your path and moves out of your direction is there for a reason. But that's hard when you grow up. But once you come to that understanding, you come to like, oh, okay. So you wanted me to grow into this individual. You were molding me and shaping me. And everything that fell off was just everything you had to shave off of me. So once I embodied that, once I internalized that, it was full go with my passion. Let's talk. Let's put this message out here. You don't have to be Gandhi to speak truth. You don't have to be Martin Luther King to speak truth. You can just be up there and have your voice heard. And right now in this world, it's really not about right and wrong. It's about truth. It's about error. It's about truth and people in deception. So you have people that spreading deceptions and getting in people's heads and messing with their psyche and messing with their energy. And then you have truth speakers and truth seekers who want to talk about the real things that are going on in the world. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we could talk all day about, you know, Trump and Biden, and we could do all that. But you know, there's famine, there's poverty, there's spirituality, there's understanding, there's war going on. We need to talk about that, and we need to talk about that minus the institutions that have been put in place. We need to have that conversation, man to man, woman to man, woman to woman. Not, oh, well, let me vote for this guy because he says that he cares about this. Nah, there's real life issues out here. You know what I mean? And those are the things that pushes me, because I see so much not being spoken about. You know what I mean? We like to, and I could get long-winded on that situation. I know, because I'm passionate about
you going in, brother.
You know what I mean? But like, you see people,
and this is not even scripted. This is how you know, this is how you know it's real, when somebody could express themselves thoroughly with no hesitation, no problems and everything. That's when you know you're about your works. You know what I mean? I
appreciate that. Yeah, and that's something that was passed down to me. You know, when my father passed away. You know what I mean? I'm about my father's business. You know what I mean? I'm gonna continue that forever. But the thing is, like, when you look out here and you see people framing the narrative and framing the rhetoric of what's going on in the world, and we have Black Lives Matter, and you know, listen, I'm not here to bash anyone or anything, but there's a media-generated propaganda, and then there's real people in the community that are going through real life, everyday things, and their stories aren't being told. You know what I mean? Right. So that's what I'm here to do as a poet, as a spoken word artist, as a conscious individual, as a child of the Most High. I'm here to speak truth and speak for the people whose voices is not getting heard. You know what I mean? And if I gotta take some shots, I'll take it. I'm strong enough for that.
So now, so you do the poetry thing. Has it always been just poetry, or were you MC before?
Yeah, that's it. I look at that a lot. A lot of people like, yo, why don't you just rap? Like, yo, why don't you just rap? Like, nah, that's a conscious choice for me not to rap. You know what I mean? But just to give some like context behind the whole thing, I'm one of 6, and all of my brothers and sisters are talented. Like, my oldest sister is an amazing artist. My other 2 sisters, they have their own art form. They actually follow. I say they invested their time and energy into family and womanhood and motherhood, but they still have their artistic expression. My little brothers, my youngest brother graduated from film school, and my brother right below me, I think he's 27 now, he's a rapper. And I tell you, he better than Drake, he go in. Consciously, braggadociously, ignorant, like he go in, he rap. Yeah. So him being a rapper, me seeing him, now mind you, I'm still a football player at this time. When he pushing his rap thing, I'm still a football player. I got, recruited to play ball, so I'm still a football player. Fast forward, my football dreams ended abruptly, but my little brother was still rapping. And so when I started writing, my biggest thing was like, nah, I ain't gonna write. Nah, I ain't gonna take his shine. I want my brother to be my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so I stayed
right.
away from writing, rapping, and I just wrote as therapy to begin with. I was going through a lot of different things. A couple bubbles had burst in my life, so I wrote, and my expression was kind of like what got me through. And then when people were telling me that was, yo, I like what you were saying, like you speaking, you know, da-da-da, I started taking it more seriously, or at least I started diving into it. Then once I met my right-hand man, shout out Ace Bigavelli, he still up north, and I found out he used to write poetry. He brought me into it and made it a thing. Me and him used to do CDs, we used to work together, go drive 2 hours and do a club, do an open mic, do it, whatever. So he got me into it. But before that, I was a football player. And I went to school studying video production. Right. So that was my, okay, I'm gonna get this video production on the side, but I'm gonna go to NFL. It didn't work out that way. And so,
how far did you get?
So I was actually pretty good in college. So I got recruited to play Division II ball up in Pennsylvania, but they were top 5 in the nation. And we had 2 players go to the league from our school, so we had prospects coming. And then I got into some trouble my junior year of, right before my senior year of college.
Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Is it picking up? I don't want you to get too far from the mic.
Oh, all right, yeah. But yeah, so my junior year, going into my senior year, I got into some trouble, and that's where the football ended. And then, school, I got into some trouble, so school ended for me too. And then after that, that's when the dream went away. It kind of like just fell apart from there. But it opened the doors for other things. You know what I mean? And it exposed me to other talents that I had as well.
Right. Have you always been expressive? Because when you express your poetry, you're so passionate and you're so into it. Has that always been your character, or did you have to develop that?
I'm gonna be honest with you, that's not in my character now. You know what I mean? It's not even in my character now.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when people see my Instagram, or they might see my content on Instagram or Facebook or the website, they think I'm that outward extrovert person. Now I have that in me, you know what I'm saying? I can do that, I'm comfortable in that space. But naturally, I like to fade into the background if I'm in a new environment and I don't like to speak. I don't like to waste my words. You can ask my girl, like, I don't like wasting my words. So if I feel like somebody not listening or somebody not trying to hear what I'll just stop talking. Like, I don't need to be heard. You feel me? Like, I don't need to have my but when I get up on that mic, on that stage, it completely flips. Cause now that's what I'm here to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
If we in a casual setting, we talking, you know what I'm saying? I just feel bad listening to people. You know, I grew up, that's how you learn.
Right.
Observe and you just be observing, you listen. But when you get on that stage and you got everybody looking at you, oh no.
Showtime.
Now it's time to speak, express yourself. So I wouldn't say that it's always been it's not my character, but I've never been shy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a shy person naturally. So if I got something to say, I'm gonna say it.
Right.
So I try to bring that same energy to the mic and to the stage.
Have you taken any classes, like speech classes or anything like that, to help develop your vocals, or it's just a natural ability? Yeah,
I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't take any classes. I took an acting class back in the day. But my biggest thing, honestly, is I'm one of 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You at a certain point, you have to know how to speak up. You know what I mean? Like, you have to know how to speak up. Not that you can all the time, because you got brothers and sisters. I had 3 older sisters, so they wasn't trying to hear it. All right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't trying to hear it. But you have to learn the ability to speak up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I have that in me. You know what I mean? I just have the ability to speak up, not necessarily use it all the time. So getting on that stage and everything like that, like, it's time to show out. You know what I mean? People forget I was an athlete my whole life. You know what I mean? So that athlete, Friday nights, them lights come on, or you got the basketball game, the lights come on. Oh, it's showtime. You know what I mean? Ain't you ain't no being shy, being coy on the field. And I treat it just like spoken word. I'll be calm and cool and everything. Oh, that mic on? Oh, them lights is on? Oh, it's go time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let me give them a show. So I just bring that energy, just when it's necessary.
Okay. Are you ready to? Can you give us a little something?
Oh, y'all want a piece?
Yeah, if you're willing and ready,
listen, there's a saying in the spoken word community. You stay ready so you don't gotta
get ready.
You know what I mean?
Right,
You stay ready, you gotta
right.
get ready. So yeah, we could definitely do a piece right now. You know what I'm saying? Cool thing is, I actually we was at a church earlier, Salt and Light Ministry, and I did a piece for the congregation up there. So I'm gonna do the same piece I did this morning, but you know, just being able to affect people. When you see how, I know music is more polarizing. Like everybody stretches every genre. You know, people love music no matter what your nationality is. But to see the effect of spoken word on people, like you could see it in that moment when you say something like, and it sits with them. And because it's spoken word, I feel like it just sits with them and resonates a little bit more without beats, without music, without, it's just the raw words. So, you know what I mean? I'll definitely give y'all a piece. Cool, right here? All right. So this is called Ancestors. So I remember the ancestors, the hunters, the gatherers. It seems primitive, but I'm just reminiscing. See, before the power struggle, we had roles and purpose to fulfill. And I remember selfless contributions. I remember who was shooting in the gym and who wore the team flag. Before the Belgians divided the Hutus and the Tutsis. Before King Leopold collected the hands of the Congo. I remember who gave it all they had, who stood tall, who stayed true, stood to toe to the red, white, and blue. And when we were yelling, don't shoot, I remember who stood their ground when Trayvon went down, who took a stand when Sandra Bland went missing from action like the masses incarcerated. I hope the distance hasn't given you amnesia. What they wanted us to forget, this bloodline and the long list of legacies, the dynasties and the treasures buried deep beneath. See, before this is all over, our freedom will be the new history. Before this is all over, they'll drop to a knee ever so humbly. This is Colin Kaepernick with the fitted hat backwards, do-rags, wave caps, bring back the camo and the steel toe versus the suit and tie. Matter of fact, get fly how you want to. But when the script gets flipped, remember we said this. Remember the Alamo. Remember Jim Crow. Remember Plessy versus Ferguson. Remember Dorothy Counts. Remember heavyweight bouts. I remember Ali took on the government and went the distance. Pardon me, I'm just reminiscing, but I remember they called us 3/5 of men. From Harriet Tubman to Rosa Parks, I remember black women. Angela Davis rocked the fro. Huey had one too. Stokely Carmichael preached politics. Excuse me. Brother Kwame Ture. The politics delayed the enlightenment, but one thing about truth, it always shines the brightest. In the middle of the night when things seem the darkest, I remember pain, passion, and who sparked this. I remember swinging with our backs against the wall. I remember the last words of a dying man, stand tall. I can't fight this anymore. Because I remember the sacrifice. I remember the sit-ins that meant standing up for what's right. And when we marched on Washington, we didn't numb pain. We came, we tamed beast lane just to regain, rename, growls, fangs, howls, all in our Father's name. I remember Yahweh, connected to a higher power. All praises to it, all mazes lead into it. Intuition, that is. See, they try to confuse us with loose change. They say they want peace and love. Fine, right after we reclaim. See, they changed the game when they introduced capitalism. Just another form of feudalism. Only difference is optimism. Oh my God, all these isms. But I see them, running in circles, doing the most. Take out your pens and pads, ladies and gents. I know it's a little late for final exams, but I'm here to reach you. See, we cling on to the idea of what it means to be successful because they determine the physical value of the things they try to keep from you, like the elegance and the luxury and the class. And speaking of class, if you were determined to be lower, then you'd be regarded as last. And that's how the devil did it. He played with the ego of man and hoped that you would forget it. But I remember the light, the love, the grace, the mercy, the place of peace, the promise made to the streets. I remember who gave it all they had and asked for the least. I remember who that there that make war with the beast. I remember the prayers before the feast, Father. Hallelujah. I remember. Rebel. That's the ancestors.
Whew.
Appreciate y'all. We got some new stuff coming
Hot
up too.
fire.
Man. Yeah, let's talk about some of the new stuff coming up.
Fire. Yes, man.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Hey, that was dope. Yeah, let's get into the activities that you have going on today.
Man.
What do you got going on?
Listen, man, before we do this, I want y'all to know that me and my partner, we've been working hard for content. Right now, content is king. You know what I'm saying? For all of the artists out there, there's a big battle about being able to monetize your art and being paid what you're supposed to get paid for you, whether it be through streams, whether through views. There's a big battle going on between art and business right now, which is including Spotify, which is including YouTube, which is including the record label companies. But let me just say this: all artists out there, y'all deserve to get paid for your work. You deserve to get paid for your work, and incorporate the business side of it, because life imitates arts, and we're the artists. You know what I mean? That's how I like to say it. But in terms of new things coming out, man, we have several productions that's coming together. We talked briefly, and you are actually in Mama.
Yes, I do star. How much respect, you know what I'm saying? Let me in there,
Yeah, man. So you're in the Mama show. So the Mama short film is a spoken word short film, and it's based after my writings. And what we did was we turned it into a spoken word short film. And that short film included all the actors are from the community. They came out and showed love. They came out and were passionate.
Yes, indeed.
They really showed out on set. So that's a beautiful thing. We have a local musician. His name is Joshua Colville. He works with All My Friends. He did a lot a studio scoring and composition for the film. So we are producing that right now. That's going to be airing October 24th. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but if anyone's out there and it's past 24th, go check out the link. Check out _Poetix. Check out impoetix.com. So the Mama's going to be out on the 24th. Really excited about that project. It tells the story of police brutality, police corruption, and how it affects the community from their point of view. You know what I mean? And we always see it from the news, we see it from the cops, but the people who are affected by this, and not necessarily the immediate family, but just the community itself. If I keep seeing my brothers and sisters being harassed or murdered, and I live in that community, what type of psychological effect does that have on the people that's living in the community? And then what type of psychological effect does it have on people who can just relate? You know what I mean? Because when I saw Trayvon, I think that was 2008. When I saw Trayvon pass away, he was the same age as my little brother. You know what I mean? So it hits home a little bit harder. Another production. So we're gonna push that. That's gonna be October 24th.
Okay.
The other two content, the 3 content-centered productions we have is going to be a program called The Solution. Now, The Solution is me. I'm going to be having, it's got kind of like a TED Talks. It's like a TED Talks community address. You know what I mean? Like, how they have the State of the Union. Well, this is going to be a content-driven production all about talking about the issues that affect our community and what we need to know, what we don't know, and what they're not telling us. You know what I mean? So I'm a historian. I like to read. I like to research. I like to know what's going on around me. So I want to be able to present that to my audience. Talk about some of the things about voting. You know what I mean? Like, don't let them just tell you anything and it be okay. Know the truth of it. Like, a lot of people, like, for instance, right now we have this talk about, voting Democrat and voting Republican. And it's like, oh, well, don't be married to the Democratic vote and don't be married. Well, all right, cool. I understand on that, but we got to inform people about why we historically have been voting Democratic. People don't really think about that. Black people voting Democrat goes back to the 1930s. With FDR and the New Deal, and that's just the history part of it. You know what I mean? So what did FDR do for the black community that made them so loyal for 80, 90 years?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. What are their actual political stances? What makes a Republican a Republican? You know what I mean? There's certain things that we need to know about Republican and Democrat, certain things about American culture, American politics that we need to know that we don't know, so that we can stop being fooled by the rhetoric in the program and that they just give us and we just devour it. For instance, for Republicans and Democrats, we talking about crime and defunding the police. Well, there hasn't been a candidate that talks about industrialized prison system, and we need to know those things because that industrialized prison system is the reason why we had the 94 crime bill. The reason why we had mandatory minimums, the reason why black people serve more time in jail, based on the numbers. This ain't just my reason why we spend more time in jail is because it's incentivized to lock black men up because they then have to do forced labor. There's so many companies that profit off of industrialized prison labor.
Facts.
So now if we locking up like in the 90s mandatory minimums, and then you have the Rockefeller drug laws, when we are locking men up for crimes, petty crimes, we've been giving them 5-10 years. Why is that? It's because they're benefiting from it, like economically benefiting from us being incarcerated. So these are things you want to know. These are things you want to ask your representative. Yo, you doing anything about private prison systems? Are you doing anything about education and things like that? Like in terms of education, we got to revisit the Brown board. Was that Brown versus Board? Well, why did they integrate the schools, and why are we so dependent on their education in the first place? You know what I mean? If 60 years ago you didn't even want me to touch foot in your school, and now you're telling me, yeah, go to school. What you teaching me in these schools? We need to talk about those things. So that's the solution content. I know I'm gonna go on with that. And then there's another one called Smoking Section. We could talk on that if you want to get back to it, but there's another one called Smoking Section. Spoken Section is just purely spoken word. I want to create an environment and release all of my newest spoken words, because I got a lot people haven't heard. You know what I mean? So I want to create that. Wow. And the last one for myself is going to be a podcast. It is a revolutionary podcast. For people that don't know, I'm part of the Huey P. Newton Atlanta Gun Club. I'm also part of the New Black Liberation Militia. So we having a podcast to have our platform and be able to talk to like-minded individuals and create that space where we could talk about building, we could talk about training, we could talk about strategic planning, things like that. But we got to put it out there. We got to have some platform where we can control that narrative and present it to people, so that they don't think, oh, we just out here. Because you'll be surprised how many people don't know of all the organizations that are going on in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, we can't do this. Nah, there's actually all black farmers. There's actually all black grow houses and agricultural programs. There's actually all black schools. They're all black learning centers. You know what I mean? But you just don't know of it, and you caught up in the mainstream media, and so you think it doesn't exist and you don't have an alternative. But we need to start presenting people with an alternative, and that's what these productions are all for. With the exception of the Smoking Section, that's just the style on them. It's simple. But yeah, and then my partner has some good content coming out too. You know what I'm saying? If there's anybody who's looking to buy a home, if there's anybody looking to invest, if there's any women out there that love leather heels, my partner also has a program coming out called Rebay. I'll let her talk about that more when she comes up on the show, but it's real estate through the Black American experience. Everything is kind of like cultivated for our people. You know what I mean? And that's how we move. That's how we move.
Man, that is absolutely dope, and I got to give you your props on doing that, because it takes a lot of courage, a lot of will power. You have to have a lot of strength. Mental strength to even, to do that, to even want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I got to give you your props on that, man. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of outlets out there, and he is one of them, providing that outlet. If you want to be more informed, if you want to be more aware, if you want to expand your thoughts and mind, which I don't think a lot of these sheeple really want. You know what I'm saying? I think we really, our savior needs to really.
I'll put it like
crazy
this,
out here.
So we had these conversations all the time, and I was talking to an older lady, and she was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna see it in my lifetime. And one thing I wanted to stress to her is like, yeah, there's a lot of sheeple out there, but that's fine. Let them stay where they stay. You know what I mean? If you don't want to elevate your consciousness, if that's not something you want to do, if you want to continue to, be fed by this American culture, that's cool. Because we're not in the business of trying to convince nobody. But for the people who are searching for something more, that's where we got to focus our energy. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely a lot of sheep out there, but we ain't going to be able to control that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. This indoctrination in this program is 200 and something years deep. It's generation to generation. We're not going to be able to get everybody. You know what I mean? Right. But for the people who are here, that are looking for something, that are looking for truth, that are looking for more, I just don't want you to feel alone. Because I know what that feels like. To feel like, damn, it's just, you know what I mean? I'm surrounded by sheep and it's just me. And then that makes you not even want to be conscious. Because being elevated and conscious thought, it's stressful in the beginning. Like it's not something you just oh, it's all rainbows and butterflies. Nah, you got to look in yourself. You got to dive in, peel back layers within yourself. You have to forgive people who never said they were sorry. You have to forgive yourself. And that's maybe one of the hardest things. So when I look at people who, you know, may not be there consciously and may not want to be there consciously, yeah, sometimes it bothers you because you want people to elevate, you want people to see the light, so to speak. But you gotta understand, like, that ain't no easy challenge. That's not no easy feat for somebody to really dive into themselves and heal their trauma, or even admit that they have trauma. Right. You know what I mean? This American culture we live in, it tells you to put Band-Aids on bullet holes. It tells you, oh, take this quick pill and you'll solve shit. Oh, you depressed? Pop this in your, you know what I'm saying? And that's the culture. You feel me? Right. When it's crazy when we have, you know, we have these things like fuck cancer. We have these things like, you know, raise money for this cause. When a lot of these things is just lifestyle changes. Or you got for cancer, there are literally things that cause cancer. Right. I believe it's carcinogens. All you gotta do is not eat the food that they give you, and cancer's gone. But we create movements around it because it's part of our culture. Our American eating habits is as much a part of our culture as capitalism. Right.
That diet is a beast, and the diet is one of the main things that's going to correct a lot of our illnesses that we have.
Exactly. Because the biggest thing is, and a lot of people don't really realize. Now I'm not saying get the right, but I hope you get the right. Your thoughts come from your gut. So when you're not eating right, if you have stomach pain, if you have all these things, you're not eating right, your thoughts are gonna reflect that. You know what I'm saying? Your thoughts are gonna be null. They're gonna be dull, lower vibrational thoughts. You start eating, you know, your vegetables, your fruits, you know, you start working out, guess what? Your thoughts are gonna reflect your lifestyle. Your thoughts are gonna you're gonna have more positive thoughts because you're eating more positive things. It's all connected. You know what I'm saying? When people eating, you know, and I'm not gonna say, you know, go vegan or not go vegan, but when people eat meat and they eating the terror and the fear and the trauma of that animal.
It goes right into you.
So how does that then reflect on your thoughts? Then when you start getting comfortable, you know, talking about killing and shooting people, that's because you eating trauma. Not only you eating trauma, but for most black people in America, you done lived through trauma. You know what I'm saying? So again, you be trying to put Band-Aids on bullet holes, not knowing what the whole situation is. Right. And, you know, just to bring it back to the art, I don't even know if I got enough words, you know what I'm saying? But through my spoken word, I want people to understand, like, we at war out here. You know what I'm saying? But in order to win the war out there, you got to first win the war inside here. You know what I mean? So that's the mission. You know what I mean? One thing I want to kind of like put out there, just as an art, what we're going to start seeing is the same way we're doing Mama right now. We created our own content, and we're going to be hosting it. And to see Mama is going to be $2.99. We're going to have direct-to-consumer content from now on, because especially with Corona, with spoken word, there aren't a lot of venues as available. So now we're going to be filming our features. I'm going to be doing my spoken word and giving some cinematic and some type of cinematic appeal, some kind of concept.
Now, earlier you said that you're not an entertainer.
Right.
So express that idea where you're separating what you're doing from the entertainment part of.
Okay, I got you. So the reason why I say I'm not an entertainer is because I feel like spoken word artists, poets have a responsibility. They have a responsibility not just to entertain and make you laugh and cheer, but if they also have a responsibility to educate and inform. So when we do spoken word, I like to speak and give social commentary. I like to give reflections. I like to talk to people. In some spoken word, I'll even challenge some people. You know what I'm saying? I'll call some people out on some things. Not specifically, obviously, but, you know, just in terms of human nature. So I don't like to get into the space of being a entertainer, because then it's the whole, hey, do you like it? Are you cheering yet? You know what I mean?
Dancing.
I'm not here for the oohs and ahs.
Right.
The best thing you could do for me is just like, you know what I mean? Just that side.
You really want them to receive something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're
reflection.
Feeding people. You know, you're nourishing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So one thing I say about poet is, for me, it's called provoke emotion. and my aim to make you feel. You know what I mean? I want you to feel something. So that's the kind of separation between entertaining and performing for me.
Okay. So as we start to wrap everything up, what is it that is on? And you said a lot. You know what I'm saying? What is it that you want the people to receive, the audience that are tuning in and hearing what you got to say? What is it that you want people to receive?
I guess the biggest thing from what I'm hearing is that let people know that we're here. There are people that are working together and have the vision of a self-sustaining community. You know what I mean? That's the goal. We've talked forever about the things that are afflicting blacks, minorities, indigenous, but what's the solution? And there are people here that's working on the solution. So let's focus on the solution. You know what I mean? Let's focus on what we got to do and do it. Let's come together and do it. And let's remove ourselves from the fake. See, one of the biggest things about this time frame with Corona and the Black Lives Movement, it gave people a time to sit down and really reflect and like look at things. And so I want people to come out of that reflection and be like, yeah, there's more to life. There's something more out there. Before we were running around trying to make ends meet all day, but now we're sitting down and look at life. Really sit down and reflect. And with that, just know that there's people out here that are in the community. Like local law enforcement isn't a new idea. You know what I'm saying? I'm involved with two organizations right now that do weekly patrols. You know what I mean? So speaking of Huey P. Newton, Gun Club of Atlanta, and the New Era of Atlanta. So we do these things, and all we need is your support. All we need is you to know, like, yo, there's something else. There's an alternative. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing for me. There's an alternative. We out here.
Man, that's absolutely dope. I want to give a shout out to Camila for linking me up. You know what I mean? We came and we met each other on a casting call. You know what I mean? And we did a stage play. You know, and
big shout out to Camila. She gonna kill me. Camilla. Big shout out to Knowledge, to Kinwado, to Shelly, Amonset. Hope I ain't forgetting nobody. Big shout out to family, Sincere, Milk. Big shout out to just everybody in the community, because you're right, man. Those connections made this experience amazing, and I'm still going through it.
Yes, indeed. Hey, man, let everybody know how they could tap into you, man, and everything you got coming up.
All right, no doubt. So Instagram is going to be the hub of most things that I do, and it's going to then go and transfer to the website. You can follow me at _POETIX. That's _Poetix at _POETIX. That's on Instagram. On Facebook, you know what I mean, you can catch some things. I'll put them up there, but you can follow me at PoetXI. So it's going to be POETXI. But biggest thing is, make sure you go to the website, IamPoetix.com. Sign up for the newsletter, because then you're going to get the updates for everything we got going on. And I'm telling you, we got 3 productions coming up. One is releasing on the 24th, and there's collaborations that's coming up. So, a lot of things going on. Make sure you keep up with it, _Poetix on Instagram and IamPoetix.com. I hope I'm not forgetting anything, but just look out for Mama.
The music video, he stars in my music video, you know what I'm saying? That was filmed by Atlanta Unplugged.
Shout out to Atlanta Unplugged.
So y'all got to go check that out. He did a wonderful job. He had to fill in a position that, we kind of...
I'm not too fond of cops, but, I guess I could play a detective on screen for y'all, you know what I mean? But, no, it was definitely a great time. We had some great people out there. It was a lot of fun. And it was so crazy because we were actually filming it the day that they were writing Black Lives Matter
on
in the streets. How fitting, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Right.
Shout out to y'all. And what was my man that who's on the track with you?
Zane Smith.
Shout out to Zane Smith, man. He's doing his thing on that track too, as well.
Yes, indeed. Well, man, much respect for coming on here, man. Peace and love and all blessings to you for your success and everything. And you're a needed individual in this community, because you're making it more about your individualism and making it about, you know, the whole family and everything like that. So we need to protect brothers like you and uphold brothers like you and everything, and make sure that you get the shine that you know deserve and need, because when you get it, we get it.
For sure,
that's how you move, and that's how we should move. And that's it. That's all. And that's Atlanta Unplugged, and we are